He had just been jailed over this matter. And I'm sure you all know that one of the counts preferred against Governor, what happened was that there was an allegation that time Dariye had just been jailed over this matter. And I'm sure you all know that one of the counts preferred against Governor Dariye was this 100 million. And that was why he was jailed. That was why Dariye was jailed. Now he provided the evidence to say that marine float was actually the cover that they used, because Dariye took money directly from the coffers of Plateau State and paid to the marine float. That was why he was jailed. Now we know that this money actually found its way back to Atiku Abubakar and his boss. But they used people as front to siphon these monies and so many others. There were other two companies that he did not mention, but he mentioned marine float. From the oral account of the whistleblower, the voice notes, and all other supporting documents, these are the possible infractions of the law Atiku Abubakar has committed, and we urge his prosecution along these areas. 1, he has committed possibly offenses against the Code of Conduct for Public Offices. 2, subsection 2 of 10, for the purposes of subsection 1 of this section, the receipt by a public officer of any gift or benefit from commercial firms, business enterprises, or persons who have contracts with government, shall be presumed to have been received in contravention of the said subsection 1 of this section, unless the contrary is proved. There are also offenses against the Money Laundering Act.
I should go and check. The money was paid to a company.
Marine float, yes, sir.
And marine floats of those 3 companies.
He said that you own marine float.
I never, there is no way. Let them go and check our articles of association. I own marine.
That's all. Thank you so much, Daddy. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We know where this funds coming. So whether Atiku Abubakar wins or not, of course I know he's not going to win, but whether he wins or not, I'm prepared to face persecution under his government for doing this. I'm prepared to go to jail, I'm prepared to go to prison, I'm prepared to be charged, I'm prepared to be persecuted, even if he wins as president.
Let me allow you, this is the portion where you are making reference to.
Yes, please.
And this is for the benefit of the very viewers who are watching us tonight, who are looking for perspective on exactly what Mr. Festus Keyamo is talking about. Take a listen to this portion of the via video.
Mike.
Yes, sir.
You asked me what is LTV, so I should go and check. The money was
to be sure before I start asking people.
Marine floats. The company, they outside in
He said that you own marine float.
I never owned, there is no way the office open corruption.
Thank you so much, Daddy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Prepare 3 companies, the subscriber.
Okay, sir.
Like, if they give you
yeah.
fee,
Yes,
and
sir.
that fee, to fund the party, engaging open sense of Fashaway and the late this guy from North State who died in that time. So I now include them as subscribers. The companies was Marine. So this governor sent it to marine float.
Yes, sir.
One of the subscribers, very investigated by EFC, that there was nothing. So we just went to it back at it. Went to Simple Float was an SP created as a consulting company. That was the way I handle it. Yes. So that was what I was doing. No money was given.
It's okay. As the time draws close with a lot of one needs to be able to be countering him. Yes, sir. I will tackle him later.
So I should go and check. The money was paid to a company.
Marine float, yes, sir.
And marine floats of those 3 companies.
Accusing the innocent man of criminality, where a known armed robber, a known drug dealer, a man who has been convicted of drug in America, who over 340 million naira, equivalent of $460,000, was confiscated, and there is an indictment already on him. Is a convicted criminal in the United States of America. We call for the prosecution of an innocent Nigerian. In fact, one of the most investigated Nigerians, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who has come out very clean. He has never in life been prosecuted for any criminality. He has never faced ICPC, EFCC, or Code of Conduct. But Tinubu, in his own case, was in the code of conduct for perjury. He was tried for perjury. There's an indictment against him in the United States of America. There's over a dozen petitions right now waiting for him in the EFCC. There are plethora of cases against him in ICPC. And this is the type of drug baron and possibly a drug addict. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is very clear that for you to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you must be physically and mentally fit. Tinubu is not physically fit, he's not mentally fit. To be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, then it is so laughable that instead of calling for the resignation and apology of Tinubu, you will now talk about Atiku Abubakar. And I want to state without fear of favor that Mike is hired. Mike is hired, bro, that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you cannot give what you don't have. The house that Bola Ahmed is living in Asokoro today used to be the property of Lagos State government. His house on Bodilum used to be the property of Lagos State government. TVC television in Lagos is where their house, the headquarters where they are now, used to be the property of Lagos government. So, and we all know that this man has been indicted as a drug baron, convicted as a drug baron. Do you want Nigeria to produce Pablo as president and then produce Osama bin Laden as vice president? Do you want to destroy this country beyond the level, the magnitude that they have destroyed it today? Today, as I speak to you, many children are orphans. Many fathers, many wives, understand, have no husbands. And I'm telling you, just because of the incompetence and incapacitation of APC, and the man who has called himself the national chairman, national leader of that party, you want him to come and
those are very strong words, very strong allegations. Yes,
because you are a lawyer,
no court of law has
a graduate of law.
Against Atiku. And you know, the case Atiku has always made, there is never any element or issue raised for which there was no investigation. So he was investigation. There's this thing in law we call issue estoppel. When a law enforcement investigates and come up with a finding and say nothing has been established against this person, when you go about talking about it, then it's an expression of pantophobia. In the case of Tinubu, right now in the EFCC, there is a document filed for the investigation of Tinubu on the Alpha Beta. The EFCC has not come out to say we have investigated and there is no issue. So they are to ask EFCC, please fast track this thing and prosecute our candidate Tinubu in the interest of the nation, because the spokesman said he is doing that in national interest. Even if he's asked to leave the campaign or to leave the cabinet office, he will leave. But are you surprised that he's saying he's going to court? Was he not the very person that took Tinubu to court and said Tinubu never had certificate, he falsified document, and Tinubu is a 419? Was he not the person that started peddling the idea that Tinubu had Pakistan? So I am not surprised if tomorrow he wakes up with a document and say he's going to sue Buhari. It is in their pattern. But that is what pantophobia does. It distorts your reasoning. It makes you become anxious. You have anxiety to a point where you are pressing the wrong buttons. You are seeing people walking like trees. You are seeing people like animals. And your sense of judgment is completely obliterated. And that is why, like I was saying, that kind of triggered anxiety happens when you sense that defeat is imminent. And that is what is happening. Have you not wondered why they established for the first time in the history of politics in Nigeria to establish a militia of a political party they call Jagaban Army, a militia with uniform for the purposes, who knows? That's why we're calling on the law enforcement to prove that what Keyamo and the group are saying is not true, that they control them. Because he said we are asking the law enforcement to do that and we're giving them 72 hours. If they fail to investigate this Jagaban Army established to maim people and to rig election, then what the Keyamo and the group are saying might be considered by the right-thinking members of the society as true, that they control law enforcement. This is what you see them operating. And you're going to see more of that in the coming days, because pantophobia, usually these are some of the symptoms of pantophobia. All right, we have documentary evidence of a petition written to EFCC. So if they care about Nigeria, these are the things for them to push. The former MD of Alpha Beta has lodged a petition in EFCC for the investigation of Asiwaju. There have been petitions raised to this fact that Asiwaju, during his time as in Lagos, he removed Mamora, who was a very successful senator, and put his wife there. His son took charge of the control of the billboard management. His daughter became the Iyaloja of Lagos. His wife became the supplier of the diesel in Lagos. He turned Alpha Beta, his own company, to become the tax collection machinery of Lagos. That's one. 3 days ago in Kano, Maokwe, the daughter of Asiwaju took 10 million naira cash, drop it on the floor. It is on video where they took it and they were sharing to people. Can somebody define money laundering for me, please? Now, there is even an investigative journalist.
Do you have that video?
I will forward it to you. I have it. It's circulated. Raw video. Have you not seen the video, sir? Raw video.
You have the video. You have her on video dropping the money in cash?
The fellow that she visited was speaking on microphone in a language understood by all. And he told them, the daughter of Asiwaju, he even called her His Excellency, and I have no recollection whether she has ever been a governor or wife of a governor. He said, Her Excellency brought 10 million naira cash for me here, but I'm going to take 1 million and 9 million, I will share it. Can they bring the money? They took the Ghana must go there raw in the presence of people. That is called money laundering.
But Mr. Bola, are you relying on a third party to say that was actually 10 million naira?
Who see it?
Who proved it was 10 million naira?
The video showed the money. I'm not talking of perception. The video, money.
Anything can happen. There could be paper underneath and money on top. How do
you think that Iyaloja of Lagos, of Lagos will carry paper to that place?
You know your lawyer.
So we are now calling on EFCC to investigate. And you know, when we ask that the law enforcement should investigate, we use the word investigate because we know what law means. They are saying prosecute. It's a crass ignorance of the law that a senior advocate will call for a meeting and be ordering law enforcement to arrest. You start by investigating, then you now arrest.
Obasanjo, in his memoir, My Watch, made it clear that the presidential candidate of APC, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, is corrupt. He wrote it in his book. He also wrote the same about presidential candidate of People's Democratic Party and former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. He was emphatic about that these people are not trustworthy. In case of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, he said that the former EFCC chairman, Nuhu Rebado, gave him a report that contained indictment of 28 governors during the time of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. He said that the case of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu was the worst in terms of corruption. He regretted that Nuhu Rebado eventually whitewashed Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. In the case of Atiku Abubakar, he itemized several allegations of corruption against Atiku Abubakar. And none of these two men had challenged Obasanjo on this. Now, these are the same people who are claiming holier than thou in this campaign. And it's good because by this development, corruption has been brought back into the center of the campaign. If you observe, this is the only election in which corruption is not a major theme. If not for the presidential candidate of Labour Party who talks about corruption, no presidential candidate is talking about corruption or how to fight it, how to ameliorate it, how to deal with it. Peterobi is the only presidential candidate that have been talking about corruption. Even at the Chatham House, he was the one that talked about corruption. Tinubu was at the Chatham House, he didn't talk about corruption. So the fight between the men of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu and the men of Atiku Abubakar over Atiku's alleged corruption is very good for Nigeria. It is very good for this campaign because what we are now seeing is that Nigerians are now being forced to look at corruption. Don't forget, there was a guy, an investigative journalist called David Hundiyin, who did a detailed documentary and investigative report on alleged drug dealings of connections of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. That particular story was not being made what it's supposed to be. It ought to be at the center of this election. But of course, it was not. For whatever reason, the media had been downplaying it. Now, wittingly or unwittingly, Tinubu's main allegation against Atiku Abubakar, telling him to step down, calling for his prosecution, calling for him to drop out of the race, is a good thing, because he has now forced Atiku Abubakar to begin to talk about that very investigation. Because right now, you can see that the only difference that Atiku Abubakar people are making is to make reference of the alleged drug connection of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which was contained in the investigation by David Hundiyin, in which Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu allegedly returned $460,000 to the U.S. government. Now, it is being talked about. Before, it was not being talked about, but APC has hit PDP below the belt, and now they are talking about it. It is a very good thing for Nigeria. It is a very good thing that this thing is coming at this time that we are a few weeks to the election, so that Nigerians can understand these two people who want to lead Nigeria from the two former ruling and incumbent government, that's PDP and APC. We can see how they are throwing allegations of corruption against each other. And most of these allegations have substance. Because Atiku Abubakar cannot claim that the voice recorded by that Mike Achimoga is not his voice. And you can see how Festo Keyamo challenged him to go to court if it's not his voice. So it's a good thing that they are drawing attention to that matter. Like, you look at it, Darie was jailed because of the money he contributed to the PDP for election. 100 million naira he contributed from their ecological fund that's supposed to be used to develop Plateau State. He contributed it. Now he has gone to jail. Of course, has been granted state pardon. But the man who was instrumental, who was at the center of it, from that conversation, from the recording we have all heard, this can't just be allowed to walk away. So Keyamo was right. In a decent climb, Atiku Abubakar would have stepped down when this video came out, when this voice recording came out. He ought to have stepped down if it were in a decent society, in a decent climb, where people respect the rule of law, where people have regard for their people. He ought to have stepped down, because there's a lot of substance. The young man who was his media aide has released a lot of bombshells. That is enough for any politicians to step down. So, Festus Keyamo is right on that. Also, the PDP people also write that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu should be called to account about his alleged involvement in drug dealings in Chicago, which David Hundiyin has done a lot about. The people, the PDP are also right. There are a lot of allegations against Tinubu in EFCC, in ICPC. So these two men, in a decent climb, ought to have stepped down from the race. They ought to have thrown in their towel. But since they are not ready to throw in their towel, and the prosecuting authorities are not ready to take them out in this election period, the onus is now on Nigerian people to reject them overwhelmingly. Because if you support Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it means you are supporting the baggage he's carrying. The baggage of drugs in Chicago, the baggage of corruption allegations against him with ICPC, EFCC, and all those things that PDP have been mentioning about him. If you support Atiku Abubakar, it means you are happy that somebody who made Daria to go to jail should be allowed to go free. That is not right. That is not right. So this is an opportunity for Nigerians to know that it is God that brought these people out to expose themselves at this material time so that they can be cancelled out, so that they cancel each other out, so that Nigerians will see that there is no future in any of these two. Nigeria's problem has been rested squarely on lack of leadership. Professor Chinua Achebe said this. Transparency International and other international corruption organizations have said it. That is why Nigeria is not developing. These two men, Tinubu and Atiku, cannot take Nigeria anywhere with the corruption allegations hanging on their necks. There is no future that Nigeria can have that is bright with them. That is why it is important that as they are dragging themselves on the mud, which is rightly so, that Nigerians see that they have no alternative but Peterobi of the Labour Party, who is committed to fighting corruption, who is committed to transparency, who is committed to accountability. That is what the country needs right now. These people, they have cancelled themselves out. Thank God for it, because I have been worried about this election. Nobody talks about corruption, which is the major problem of this country. Now they have brought it to the front burner, and it is going to help to cancel them out of the picture. Nigerians, I have seen them for what they are. They don't deserve an inch near the Aso Rock Villa. So Nigerians have to put their total support now, overwhelmingly, for Peterobi of the Labour Party, so that he can win on the first ballot on February 25, 2023. God willing. Thank you for watching this video, and if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like this video, Google will rank it high and recommend it for more people to watch. And with more people watching it, it will be an opportunity for more Nigerians to see the need to reject these alleged looters in APC and PDP and ensure that we have a new beginning in Nigeria that will be propelled, engineered, and led by Mr. Peterobi of the Labour Party. God bless you and yours.